Hello, hello, hello. It's Tina from CNC Designs. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Monday. Tonight is Magnolia Monday, and I am coming to you live from two places here at CNC Designs, as well as from the Crafting Network. As you come in, please stop and say hello. If you see the red live button above my head, that means you have caught me live. If you do not see that red live button, that means you are catching me on replay. In either case, please stop and say hello and come on in and join the fun. I think I finally found live so that I can see comments better. Hello, Jen. How are you? Thank you for watching and thank you for getting me shared out. As I stated earlier, tonight is Magnolia Monday, so we will be working on some different projects that include magnolia stencils, and these projects can be earmarked for Mother's Day gifts, as well as just thank you for being a friend type of gifts. I'm going to give you a look at what we're going to be making tonight. Here is an example. This is a little pouch that you can use for makeup. I've done some painting on the front and the back, and we have a magnolia stencil in the front. And this inside, we have a phone holder that matches with the colors in this particular bag. So I'm going to be giving these to friends at work, co-workers as gifts. So I'm going to show you how I did those, and I did do them both front and back. This actually flips up this way if you were using it that way, so that you can have it all one color, or you can flip it around and have it mix and match. I just thought it was really cute. It's portable. You can take it and put it in your desk when you're not using it. You can put it in your pocketbook and carry it around with you. So I think these are really cute friend gifts. These are cute little pouches that can be for girlfriends, sisters. You can put makeup in it. If you have teenagers, these can be their little personals pouches that they put in their book bags to take to school. So I'm going to show you how I did these, and hopefully you'll be inspired to make some of your own. So we start out with a plain canvas bag. Let me give you a closer look at them. They come like this in a package. Nothing big, just a canvas bag. And what I did so that I don't have a bleed through is I've inserted some plastic bubble wrap and some tissues just to keep from the bleed through while we're working on each side. And I just chose a random assortment of Waverly paints that I had. This is a good way to get rid of some of those paints, because we all know we buy all these colors and we don't necessarily use them all the time. So this is a good way to get rid of some of those colors and to create something nice. So we're going to start out with Waverly Dusk is this color. And this is going to be more of kind of a dry brush kind of. You're not really painting the bag, you're just adding some color to it. So we don't want to saturate the bag, but we do want to add some color. So let me open this up. Matter of fact, we need to probably shake it some, because as these paints settle for a while, as you can see, they tend to separate. So you just want to mix your colors and make sure you've gotten it mixed very well. Hello, Connie. Hello, Donna. Hello, Levada. How are you all? Thank you for watching. I'm just trying to give this a good shake. And we are going to need our heat tool. So give me 1 second to get that. I thought I had it on this table, but I see I don't. Okay, so we have our heat tool for when we need that. Okay, I'm back. Apologies for that. So we're gonna take our color Dusk, and we're just gonna dip our brush in it. And I'm gonna try to wipe back a lot of the paint, because like I said, I'm not painting it. I just wanna add some color. So I always start in a corner. Doesn't matter which side. You start on. You can start out with less. You can always add more if you want. I like to start with less and add more as I am seeing how it's applied. So that's just our corner for our color dusk application. And I don't clean my brush in between this process because I do want these colors to blend and mix with one another. Hello, Miss Fagan. So there's no need to clean the brushes. I thought this one was open. I know I've used this paint before. I don't know where this little piece was before when I used it. But all of a sudden, here it is. That happens to you guys. Sometimes that little insert is not there when you open it. And then all of a sudden, I guess it falls down out of the top. And there you go. So now the next color we're using is Ballet Slipper. Again, I'm just dipping my brush in. And I'm just gonna swipe and just kind of make little splotches of color is what we're doing. And I add more in some places, less in others. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. You just pick the colors that you think look good together. I do find that the less paint I use, the easier it is to dry. So you want to keep that in mind as you're going along. The next color we have is Celery. And we do the front and the back, but you don't have to put the color in the same order. You can reverse the colors, you can use different colors. It's all up to you. I think it looks better to me when they're not going in the same order. And again, like I said, I am not cleaning my brush because I want these colors to kind of blend in together. I don't want them to look like they're separated. So this is kind of what we have flowing right now. And then I think the next color we're going to use is Maize, which is a pretty yellow color. These are all Waverly paints right now. I am just kind of wiping back a little bit on the paper towel, but there's even really no need for that. You don't have to do that. And this is one of those projects that you really can't mess this up. So there should be no reason why this is not something that you would be interested in doing. Certainly not something you should be afraid of. I love this maize color. I contemplated actually doing a whole bag in this one color. I like it so much. And the last color we're using is also in the pink family, but this is Pink Cloud. And this has more of a pink peachy kind of hue to it. And that's going to be our final color. I like to kind of go over my ends and my edges, even if it's not necessarily all the colors, but just to make sure that we have some color on those sides. Yeah, I like this. And again, I do a little heavier in some spots, so I did go a little heavier in that corner, but that's what we have on that bag so far. And so you want to get a little bit of a dry on here because we do want to do the other side. And like I said, that's one of the reasons why we do more of a kind of dry brushing, because it's a lot easier to dry it that way than if you saturated the bag. Hello, Tina. Hello, Jennifer. Hi, Karen. How are you all? Thank you for joining us tonight. It is Magnolia Mondays here at CNC Design, so we're working with some little canvas bags. I call them kind of catch-all bags. You can use it for makeup. You can carry keys. You can put anything in there pretty much that you want to put. Those things that fall into the bottom of our pocketbooks that we can't find, we can put in this bag. Hello, Iris. How are you, my friend? I think we've got a pretty good dry on this so far. So that's what we have. And then we're gonna just turn this over, and now we're gonna apply some color to the back side. You can leave the back plain. I just like to do both sides of mine. That choice is definitely yours. As I showed you earlier, here's another one that we did. Kind of the same process. Those are, you can see those colors in the background. We stenciled on top, and here is the back. So you can leave the back plain. You can paint it. And I definitely try to use something on the inside so we don't get any paints on the inside, which is why we have the stuffing here. So with this one, I'm going to start out, since we have the pink cloud open already, I'm going to do pink cloud first on this side. And you don't have to do these diagonal stripes. You can do stripes going straight across. You can do them up and down. You can cross hatch colors, however you want to do them. It's a really one of those kinds of things that you can just play and create, is what I like to call it. I'm doing well, thank you, Iris. So we're going to now, I'm going to go in with some of this celery color. Again, remember, I'm not necessarily cleaning my brush because I want to blend these colors as much as I can. I don't want them to look like they're separated. I want them to just look like we have a blending of colors throughout the bag. And you can go, again, heavier in some places. Like on this side over here on this end where my brush is now, I definitely have gone in heavier than on the opposite side. And I like to run those colors right up next to each other so that we can try and get as much blending as we can. It is a piece of cloth, so it's not going to be a seamless blend like it would if you were working on a piece of canvas or something of that nature. Hi Anna, how are you? Thank you for watching. So now we're going to go back into our dusk. And I'm getting right up to that celery. You could take a ruler or something and, you know, create straight lines if you're one of those people that, you know, crooked lines bother you. I like this because it looks more abstract. It definitely looks more hand done and not something so uniformed. This color is a gorgeous color. I love this kind. It has like a grayish hint to it. But I love this color. It's like a blue-gray. So as you see, I have not even turned it over to see if we're going in the same color direction as we did earlier. For me, there's no need for it. This was our front, or we can decide which one is the front, and this is what we've done so far. These splotches might even be a little bit wider than these. It all doesn't matter. Let me just fold this up because I got a lot of paint splatters there. So now we're going to take some maize, which is this pretty waverly yellow. You will use up quite a bit of paper towels and maybe even some wipes, but you know, that's par for the course. This is another color that I think is absolutely gorgeous. So if you have these Waverly paints and you find that you haven't used them quite often, this would be a good reason to get them out. Create a project, something like this, that requires several colors that you can use at once. And And I think it comes out with a really nice finished product. So now we're going to, we're going to use ballet slipper. This pink is familiar to a lot of us. A lot of people use the Waverly ballet slipper pink. And we're just going to, again, go right up against that yellow and fill in that last slot of canvas. And here we are with this side. You can add more paint if you want. I find the stencil definitely holds its own, so I don't necessarily add a lot of paint. I guess it depends on the stencil that you're using. Magnolia has several stencils that we can use. I think I'm going to go with this floral on this one. And I do want to get it pretty dry because we are going to be using Magnolia inks. Because this is a canvas, it's a material you're better served using the inks. Could you use paste? Yes. But if you use water on it in any way, the paste may reactivate itself and come off of your bag. So I like using the inks because the inks are more permanent. So this is just a floral that came in one of our Magnolia stencils. We have several stencils that you can use for something like this, and I will show you. I'll do 2 of them tonight, so I'll show you 2 different types, but we have several others that I have used already on some. So this is my chalk paste, ink. We're not using chalk paste tonight. And this is my white ink. I definitely need some more because I have been using this quite a lot on these projects. Now remember, this is canvas. It's not gonna be perfect. So if you're looking for perfection, this may not be the project for you. So I just want to get this floral down. Sometimes the stencil will cover the whole bag. Sometimes the stencil is too big, so you'll actually identify parts of the stencil that you want to put on the bag. You can mix and match different stencils. That's the beauty, I think, of doing a project like this, because you can really make it your own just by using parts of different stencils, or just florals out of one stencil, maybe words from another, or you can have some that don't have any words to them. I just think it makes a really cute gift, and definitely one that is unique. And again, like I said, this is a canvas, so don't look for perfection, but I think that is absolutely gorgeous. What do you guys think about that? Who likes that? Show me some hearts if you like that, or something. I really think that is really, really cute. You could, do it in a black ink and watercolor the florals in. That's another way you can do it. I personally like this way. I like this kind of watercolor background without having to necessarily color in each and every petal. And I just think that it looks more artsy, if you will, that way. So I'm gonna just clean this stencil really quick, and then we will apply a little bit of heat on this so I can show you somewhat of what heat setting a project looks like. Well, I'll go to the next one. You do need to heat set them, and what we do to heat set our pieces is you use a Teflon sheet or something in between your stencil. And I like to use my little Cricut mini heat tool, especially on projects as small as this, because it's easier to handle that way. Oh, thank you for those hearts. So this is something that you could even do with, you know, grandkids or younger members of the family. Grandkids can make mom a nice little cosmetic pouch or perfume pouch or personals pouch, if you will. They can even, these pouches can even be used in school season for pencils. Like I said, young ladies who need their personals during that time of the month can take a little bag like this. It's very pretty, very dainty. Doesn't necessarily show what the contents are. So I think young ladies would be happy to have something like that, as opposed to trying to do what I used to do, which is kind of push things under my sleeve and try to hide it while I'm walking out of the classroom to the bathroom so nobody knew what exactly I had. Hello, Michelle. How are you? Thank you for watching. Let's clear this up. That's our first one. And I think that is really, really cool. I love this. I love making these. I'm making a few of them for some co-workers. And like I said, I'm going to share with you the little phone cases that I'm going to put inside of them. And that's going to be my kind of Mother's Day gift for some of my co-workers. I'm just drying this off. I am going to heat set it, but I am just drying it so I can put it to the side and it doesn't butt up against anything and distort the stencil. So next, I have these little phone cases. I bought these a while ago from Temu. I do see that they still have them, but the prices have gone up a lot compared to how much I paid for them. I was lucky enough to get them for like almost like pennies on the dollar. It was really, really inexpensive. Not so much anymore. They still have them, but they're not inexpensive anymore. So I'm going to show you two versions of this. Again, and keeping in with that abstract color, I'm going to go back in with my colors and I'm just going to splatter some colors on this piece. And I'm not necessarily going to be going the same way I did before. You can use a dauber, you can use a brush. You don't have to use. You can use a dauber and do something that we in Magnolia world call the hot mess technique, where you can just kind of mix all the colors together, splatter them together. Hello, Miss Patterson. How are you, my friend? So we use that pink. First, I'm going to take a little bit of this maize, and I'm just going to go in and add some maize in here. And you see this time I'm just dabbing the color on. I have no particular format or way of doing this that I'm following. I'm just kind of just letting it allow me to, letting it direct me in the direction that I'm going. I'm not trying to be perfect about this. I think that you'll see in the end that it really doesn't matter, and the piece comes out really, really cute. I love the way the others came out, and I have no reason to think that this one won't be just as pretty. And again, you see I'm not washing my brush. I'm just using these same colors. And with this pink cloud, I'm just gonna paint on here. I'm not splotching the way I did a few minutes ago with the others. And these two pinks do have a variation between the two of them. So you see, there's no rationale for this. I'm just putting color down. And that's what I want you to do. Don't overthink it. Just go with the flow. And here is celery. And I'm just applying some celery down. I'm going to go back in and get some of this dusk, and I'm going to apply that on the bottom of the phone holder, just to get the whole thing covered in color. And We're going to add a little bit of heat to that. And then as it dries, if we feel like we need some more paint, you can add more. But first, see what it looks like once it dries. I like these Waverly paints because they do provide pretty good coverage. So what are you guys thinking tonight? Hi, Miss Cruz, how are you? I hope you're enjoying this. And this one, because this is on wood, we're not gonna use ink. We are gonna use some chalk paste. And I'm thinking because we did our flowers in white here, and we wanted to kind of look like a set, I'm gonna do the flower again in white, but this time with chalk paste. So now let's see, let's look at our colors. There are our colors there. I think I want to go over a little bit more with the dusk here in the bottom, because in some areas it does look a little faint. I do want to see the color behind the flower. And then we're going to flip this over, and we're going to do the same thing we did here on the front. We're going to do to the back. And again, it is quite messy, so if that's an issue, you might want to put on some gloves or something. I got a dauber here, so I'm going to just play around with the dauber, see what we do with that. And just because it's a dauber, it doesn't mean you have to dab. You can also use it as a brush, the same way you would do a paintbrush, the way I'm doing here. Okay, and now let's get some maize on here. I'm just going crazy with this. No, again, no particular rationale for how I'm applying this paint. The whole idea is just to have some color behind the stencil. So now let's take some pink cloud, and I'm gonna just go right in here. And again, it doesn't matter if those colors blend. They're all a part of the same project, so it will all work. Let's take a little bit of this celery, and let's put that down here. This is definitely something that it's kind of out of my wheelhouse, because if you watch me, I don't use color. So this is a lot for me. I don't use a lot of color. I love my neutrals. I don't tend to make a lot of projects that involve color. But I thought these would be nice, springy looking type Mother's Day gifts. One thing that I do like to do is I do want to put some paint on my sides of this piece, and I do paint this part of the phone holder. because this piece is so small, you don't have to use as many colors as we did with the larger piece. So I am going to flip this over and I'm going to see if we have any color left on our dauber, and we do have some. And then I'm going to take this sage and put that in there. And I think I want to bring some of this maize in here just because it's a bright, vibrant color. And I'm gonna just play around with this and just do one of these kind of things here. So we're kind of muddling these colors together. And I think we'll be fine because they are colors that are in the piece overall. You do have to dry in between because in order to stencil, you need a pretty dry piece. Hello, Parina. How are you, my friend? So I see that our yellow and our sage is looking really good, but it's kind of muddled a little bit of our pinks. So I'm just going to tap in some pink cloud while I'm here. And you guys, I'm just playing around. As you see, I'm just playing around, having some fun with this. I think the light is not allowing me for you to really have a good view of it. But don't fret too much. Just get some color down. That's all you're trying to do. Don't make a big deal out of it. So you see, I'm just dipping and collecting a little bit of that paint out of these tops. I'm going to put a little bit of heat on here, and then we'll bring the bigger piece to us and work on that while this one sits and dries a little more. Okay, so let's push this over to the side, and let's bring our bigger piece of our cell phone holder back. Here is one side. Here is our other side. Same colors, different patterns, doesn't matter. So we're going to use the same stencil that we used on our bag here, because we want this to kind of be a matching type of set, if you will. And I'm just catty cornering this, not really, you know, being too precise about making sure I get the whole flower, because as you know, of course, you can look at the size of the stencil and you know you're not going to get the whole flower. So again, you got to be content with that. If this is one of those, if you're one of those people that everything has got to be perfect, this might not be the project that you want to engage in. I love this because it's quick, and I think you get a really nice result without a whole lot of fuss. And that's kind of my judge. If it doesn't require a whole lot of work and I can get a really nice result, I'm all for it. So, oh my goodness, this is gorgeous. I love this, maybe because I love this style of work as well. Can you guys see that? I absolutely love this. I think these two will work as a really nice gift for someone. That is absolutely gorgeous. And these are the kinds of things that you can do with your magnet. Oh, I don't know why, guys. I keep seeing it looks like, I think it was buffering a few minutes ago. I've never had this happen to my internet before. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's FB or me. Did you guys see that a few minutes ago? Did it seem like you lost me for a second? Hello, Velda. How are you? Thank you for watching. Okay, so let me just sit this here for a minute. I'm going to try and whisk some of that moisture. It was Miss Patterson. I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to check with my cable company because I've never, in all the years I've been here, I've never had those challenges with my internet. They may be trying to act like, you know how they try to convince you that you need an upgrade of a service so you can pay more money than you actually needed to pay. It might be one of those deals going on. Thank you, Miss Fagan. I love this. I think this is very dainty. I just love everything about it. Okay, so this side is dry. So we are going to go back to our stencil again. I am going to try and position it differently so that we don't have the same exact, even though we're using the same stencil, we don't have the same exact look when you turn it around. Because we're doing it on both sides, you can flip this around and have two different looks depending on how you feel that day. Maybe you have got a look you like for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And maybe it's another one that you like for Thursday and Friday. The beauty of it is that you have choice. I'm just going to bring that down here just a little bit more, just to get a little on those two corners, and there we go. Voila. That is gorgeous. I love it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why all of a sudden that's happening. It happened to us the other day when we were on too, Miss Patterson, and I've never experienced that, and I've been doing lives for quite a while. Hello, Mr. Canteen. How are you, family? So I'm going to, again, just give us just a little bit of a white because we do have our bottom piece, but we don't need as much of the stencil. I just think it looks good when we cover all sides because you can flip it inside out from all angles. So I need a clean tacky towel. So here is our little piece that we slide into our holder, our cell phone holder, and we're going to do the same thing. Just going to plop our stencil down, get some paste on here, and apply. Now this is definitely one of those projects that you're going to have to kind of let your squeegee guide you because you can't really see where the beginning and the end of the piece is through the stencil. But you know, you find your edges and you just let the squeegee guide your hand to get a good coverage. Guys, I should have maybe did it in black so you can see it better. That is gorgeous. Do you see that gorgeous flower there? Oh my goodness, I love it. Hello, Lisa. How are you? Thank you for watching. Okay, that's pretty dry. Now we're just going to flip it on the other side. And I'm going to get another portion of the floral just because also it's clean. I don't have to worry about that. Mixing too much paste and it getting glommed into the screen of the piece. So again, we just allowing the squeegee to help us define where the piece begins and ends. I think I got a little bit more over here on this edge. Okay, and there is that other side. I like it, I think also because it has that kind of abstract type of art feel to it that I just love. So maybe that's why I find it so appealing. I hope you like it as well. And again, I'm just here for inspiration. You don't have to do it my way. You could paint it all one color and apply your stencils that way. I happen to like the mixing of the colors. You can do one color and it would be just as beautiful and maybe even a lot more prominent in some ways. So let me just dry this a little bit and then I can give you a sense of what this looks like together as a cell phone holder. Let me try to put some of these tops on these paints. I will go in and paint the sides just because that's just what I like to do. I'll probably even take some inks and ink those edges because you guys know how I feel about that. Okay, so now we have our cell phone holder pieces completely dry. This is one side and this is another side. And how this works is this little piece here slides into these slots. So you would slide it into the slot like this, for example, and your cell phone then sits here. Hello, Miss Fanning. And so you see that's one look. And if you wanted to use the other side, you would just flip it around. Like for example, this side has a lot more green in it, as you can see, and you have a completely different look. So what do you guys think about that? So that, accompanied with this, is a really, really cute set. They both were made using the same stencils. I don't think you can use a sealer on it. I may spray these with Rust-Oleum clear sealer just on the cell phone holders because they probably will be handled a lot more. This I am going to heat set, so that will be heat set into the canvas bag holder. And again, let me show you another. So here is one that I did already, and I did add a little tassel on these. You can add a tassel, not add a tassel, that's all up to you. So with this one, here is the cell phone holder. And what I did on the back of this cell phone holder is I just left it in one color. It's green, like a forest green, or I forgot the name of it, sage green. And here is the flip side. So my friends will receive this as a little Mother's Day thinking of you kind of gift. So now I just want to show you the cell phone holder with a different type of stencil. I'm going to use one of our pattern stencils, and the plan is to make this more of unisex so I could give it to a male or female. I did use some Waverly wax just to kind of stain this a little bit. So I'm going to take one of our magnolia pattern stencils that I've cut, because this is a really old stencil. So it's kind of, you know, I've used it for a while, but it's still good. And I cut it down because it was one of those big giant stencils. So now I cut it down so I can use parts of it this way. So I'm just going to lay our stencil down, and we're going to use some black chalk paste. I'm only going to do one side of this because you've seen me do it, so you don't need to watch me do both sides. But I do want to give you a sense of what it looks like when you don't have all of those colors. You could, like I said, you could paint this whole piece in a solid color. I just think this wood is very pretty, so I didn't really bother to paint the entire wood and cover up all of it, because even with our little splotchy paints that we did. We don't cover up the entire thing. I don't think it's necessary when you have wood that's this pretty. But again, that's all personal choice. Nor do I think you have to get, you know, a stencil on every piece of it. That's personal choice as well. So there we have that. Again, we need some heat. What are you guys thinking about these? You like these little cute cell phone holders? I like the idea that you can personalize them. You can kind of do what you want. You know, like I said, I found mine on Temu. I have seen them on Amazon. In both places, they are much higher now than they were when I purchased them. I purchased them, I think it was probably in the middle of last year. So I've had mine for quite a while before the prices started going up. Now, if you've noticed, Temu and Amazon's prices are rising. So, you know, I definitely got mine at a really good price. They're still decent now, but if you want to give a lot of friends gifts, it may be a little cost prohibitive, depending on how many you want to give. At the time that I found them, it was so reasonable. I think I probably bought about 10 or 15 of them. Okay, so that side is done. Oh, like I said, we said we weren't going to do both sides, right? Look at me. So let's bring this down. Let's just do this bottom piece. And again, because this wood is so pretty, I don't mind if I don't have every bit of the stencil covering this little piece. Just trying to clean my squeegee. And I did not bring water, so I do have to wipe this somewhat. Let me put this back here. Okay, here's the, I'm looking for my backing sheets. Here they are. Hello, Mickey. How are you? The black one is pretty. You guys like the solid color better than the mixed colors? Which one do you guys like better? My children actually like the solid color one. I'll show you one that I did for myself when I was playing around with them way back when, just to see if my idea would work. Okay. Let me just sit this here and I'll finish cleaning later. So while I am just adding a little bit more heat to these two, I'll show you one that I did for myself. I kind of did my background in kind of like a gold hue. So this one is mine, and that's my front. And on my back, you can see I used a stencil that had the word mom in it, and I just took the mom part out and put it on the bottom. So this is kind of like this one, except I use a little bit of some of that yellow and some golds in mine. You like them both, Miss Patterson? I do too. I do too. I like this because it's more of a neutral. Definitely, if it was something you were thinking about maybe giving to a guy, you can do, you know, make it a little bit more, less colorful, if you will. Less pastel-y. So we have these pieces dried. Again, this piece just flips right into this bottom here, and that would be the stand. So this, I am going to finish the backs. These do slide in a lot more easier. I am going to finish the backs of these, so I'm just going to sit that there. And really quickly, I want to try and do another bag with another stencil. And I think I'm gonna try maybe and stick to maybe one color this time. We'll see. Hello Kim, how are you? Thank you for watching. The black pops. So again, I'm just stuffing something in my bag just so that the paint doesn't seep through the other side. And this time, what color are we gonna use? I think I will use this. This is, whose paint is this? This is, I forget the name of this company, Dixie Belle. So I think we will use possibly this teal color. It's called Peacock from Dixie Belle. So let's see what that looks like singularly. I have not done any with just a single color. I have used kind of that rainbow-esque, if you will, kind of pattern on all of these. You can see I've done a couple of different ones. So you can see how all of Magnolia stencils, you can use almost any of them. This is the one we did earlier. I have to heat set that. And we have one more, which I love, which is that lady with the gorgeous floral hair design. I love that one. So let's try and see what this looks like with this. Oh, we said we're going to use Peacock, right? Why did I open this one? I don't know. My mind must be telling me to use this color. No, let's go with the Peacock. Maybe because it's hard to open, that's probably why. Wow. Let's see, guys, if I can open this. If not, we will go with another color for this live purpose. I definitely can't open that one. So we will go with another color. We'll go with this color Yellowstone, because that Peacock is a little bit of a challenge to open. And I think I'm going to use the dauber, maybe. Well, no, we can use a brush. And maybe we'll just do one side for this one. Yeah, so this will be the front. Okay. And again, I'm not interested in having complete coverage. I really am not. I think that it's just something about just having that splattering of color in on it and not being so concerned about it being all over the whole bag that I like. Now you, of course, can take and cover your entire bag. I have done these where I have applied printables, napkins, all of those things over the whole bag. I like this concept because it's less fuss, less muss, and just more, I think, more creativity in it. Not so much the, you know, trying to get every single piece of the napkin to lay down, trying to get the printable to lay down. This is designed to look like this is art that is drawn, painted, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Hello, Lori. Thank you for watching. So I'm going to try to get us a quick dry on here. I want to try to apply one more stencil on it. And hopefully I have given you enough inspiration so that you will get you some of these canvas bags. They are not expensive. You can find them on Amazon, you can find them on Temu. You can just search, you know, I would say 5x7 canvas bags, you know, wholesale or in bulk or something of that nature, and you probably will be able to find them almost anywhere. You might even be able to find bags like these in the Michaels or a Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure. I certainly have not purchased them from there. I usually, I think I got these actually. I've had them for quite a while, because when I did buy them, I did buy a bunch of them because I was doing a graduation, and this was a part of the senior package. And I think I purchased at the time a couple of hundred of them. So these are what are remaining of those. So now you can see this is kind of like a goldy color, and it looks a little, I wouldn't say messy, but definitely I just think it looks artsy to me. You know, it looks painted, and that's what I wanted. And on this one, I am going to use one of the bigger stencils just to show you how this works. This stencil says free your mind. This stencil is beautiful to be used as a complete stencil, but of course we can't use the whole stencil on here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use that lady from the stencil. And I just want to get a few fuzzes. Because we are working with material, we don't have to fuzz too much. You've seen them at Hobby Lobby, I'm sure. I'm sure they're probably a little pricey to buy per bag. Like, I think you can probably find these for like 10 for something, or maybe 15 for something. Whereas Hobby Lobby, you're definitely gonna be paying per bag. So, I mean, and that's not a big deal, you know, if you don't need a lot of them. If you only need a few of them, it might be worth it. If you're only doing 2, you know, it might be worth it. But if you're going to be giving like 5 or 6 friends, I would just go for, you know, what does a price cost for about 10 of them? Because even though you're only giving it to 5 or 6 friends now, who knows, in the future you might want to make some more for another purpose. So as you can see, our lady does not fit on the whole bag, and that's okay. I do want to make sure, what I am concerned with is making sure her face fits on the bag. So those flowers can come up off the page. It's not, I mean, off the bag. It's not really going to matter to me, and you'll see why I say that in a second. So we're going to do this really quickly because we are at time. But I want you to see that it can be done even with the larger stencil. So I don't want you to think, you know, that you have to have only the 5x7 stencils. This can work with almost any magnolia stencil you have, quite honestly. It doesn't matter the size. You just got to figure your placement so that your piece looks best where you place it. And you know how much of your bag you want to cover. That might be another issue for you, you know. And like I said, this does not allow you to see all of the bag through your stencil, so you gotta trust in your kind of feeling and guiding with your squeegee. And like I said, for me, the biggest thing was to make sure her face was down on the bag, and then I could work with the rest. Because even if I didn't have enough flowers, you could always lift your stencil up and go back in and add more flowers in other places on the bag that you wanted them to be. So here she is with that one color. I like that. I really think that is really nice as well. I do have a butterfly, a smaller butterfly that I think I'll probably add off to the side, and some of that space that's off to the side there, because it's not quite enough space to add the words free your mind. I would love to add them there, but that's not going to be enough real estate for that. So what do you guys think about these cute little bags? So let me just give you a recap of what we've done. Tonight's bag, main bag, was this one. and we did the front and the backs, as well as we did our phone stand to go with it. So that is one cute little set that you could give as a gift for any occasion, not necessarily Mother's Day. Here is the second one that we've done. I really like that. I do like it with one color. I think with one color, it works just as well. And where is my other, what did I do with the other cell phone stand, guys? Here we go. And here is our other cell phone stand in more of a solid color as well. I happen to like the colorful ones, but the solid ones are growing on me. So there are some really nifty gift ideas for Mother's Day that is coming, for everyday occasions. Father's Day is coming. You will see me definitely create some, because we have some really cool Father's Day minis that will fit nice on these cell phone holders. So I will be sharing a couple of ideas for you with that. But in the meantime, check out our Magnolia site, see which stencils are available. Get you some stencils if you're interested. If you have some questions about which stencils to get, which ones you can get probably multi-uses out of, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So consider getting something like this, especially like I said, for Father's Day, for that guy that's hard to buy something for. The kids, the grandkids can make a really cute cell phone holder for dad or granddad. You can give your male friends a nice little handmade gift that I think they will appreciate because you took the time to make it. And again, I thank you for joining me. I will be back on Friday night when we will do something different. But until then, you have a blessed rest of your night and a great rest of the week. Be good to yourselves, be good to others. And let me see if I can give you guys some hearts tonight, because it didn't work the other night. I don't know, did FB discontinue the hearts? Because my hearts aren't working anymore. That makes me sad. But any case, sending you love, sending you hearts. Have a great night, everybody, and I'll see you all on Friday. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.